mother for a while, of course. First, happy Mother's Day to you. We love and appreciate all of you and everything that you do. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So, we got a few talks for today and a announcement for what we're gonna do for episode 60 in a couple of weeks and how that's gonna pan out. So, uh, first things first, we're gonna start off with talking about Cody Rhodes in WWE so far. So, first things first, there's gonna be a lot of wrestling talk on here today, and it's fitting because WrestleMania, WrestleMania Backlash is tonight, of course, and Cody Rhodes is gonna be on the card. But at WrestleMania 38, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Cody Rhodes made his return to the WWE after being gone for, I think they said like 6 years. So he was gone for 6 years, of course, wrestling in the Indies, Ring of Honor, AEW, before coming back to the WWE. And so far, how they've done his presentation has been pretty good so far. They've gotten a lot of things right. There's a lot of cool things going on with Cody Rhodes and everything. So, even from the first night when he came back, the presentation was there. They had the CGI graphics because, of course, that's WWE does that for a lot of their interests. They had the CGI graphics with the American Nightmare logo, and they had the American Nightmare like lettering and stuff, Cody Rhodes, things like that. They even gave him his theme song that he used in AEW, which is Kingdom by Downstraight. So, they gave him that. They gave him the attire that he wore as the American Nightmare, and I think he wore that attire in AEW as well. But pretty much everything so far when it comes to Cody Rhodes' presentation has been absolutely perfect, and it's pretty cool, but at the same time, it is still pretty surreal to see Cody Rhodes back in the WWE ring, in WWE arenas, touring with them, because WWE is touring again. Seeing him there, interacting with WWE superstars, talking about WWE stuff on the bump and stuff like that. It's something where, like a year or two ago, even back when AEW started in 2019, if you told people Cody Rhodes would be back in 3 years to WWE, it's something where people would not have believed you. But Cody Rhodes is back, and so far, he is doing fantastic. And it's so cool to see all they've done with him so far. Right now, he's in a feud with Seth Rollins, and they're actually facing in the rematch from WrestleMania tonight on WrestleMania Backlash. And they absolutely tore the house down at WrestleMania Night 1. They had arguably the match of the night. And still, it's so cool and so fantastic to see Cody Rhodes back in WWE, back in their good graces and everything, and how they are presenting him. You could tell this time around that they're going to take him a lot more seriously. They're going to give him an actual push, and I am absolutely here for it. And it begs the question, will more AEW talent jump over from AEW to WWE? I made a post a few weeks ago asking if there would be more talent coming over from AEW to WWE. So far, Cody Rhodes has been like the only like major one. The rest were like there were some that were in AEW, but they were only there for like maybe like a cup of coffee. Worked some like AEW dark shows, had some like tryouts and things like that. But Cody Rhodes is like the first major AEW star to come over. Or the question is, will there be more? Or perhaps time will tell. But yeah, so far, how Cody Rhodes has been presented in AEW has been not AEW. Well, we kind of have to address how he was in AEW because this is what some people were expecting in AEW. He didn't win the top prize in the company, the AEW World Championship, which I'll admit, considering Cody Rhodes is like one of the people in charge behind the scenes and like management stuff, that honestly is some amazing restraint from AEW not to pop the world title on him. But in AEW, he always was, and big storylines was treated like a big deal, and it's great to see that he's doing the same in WWE, as this was a lot of people's fears. When Cody's contract expired and he chose not to renew it, I'll admit it surprised a lot of people, myself included, and people were then speculating that he was in talks with WWE, he was going to be returning, and so I imagine some people were afraid because, like, oh man, he's gonna get treated the same way he got treated the first time around, where he was like a jobber, treated like a joke or whatever. And it's great to see that so far that is not the case. Now, he's still relatively new. It's only been about maybe a month, but so far things are looking good for him, and we'll see how he's booked later on down the line. But they just gotta keep this momentum going for him, and I think he'll be just fine here in the WWE. But next up, we're gonna talk about the AEW video game. Speaking of AEW, we're gonna talk about everything we know about the AEW video game so far. So, because the AEW video game has been like slotted to come out later on this year, actually, and we've actually seen stuff from it even before, like, this year, where a lot more stuff is being revealed as we get closer to release date, and I'm sure a lot more stuff will be revealed as we get closer to release date. There's a lot of info we have about the game so far, or whether it's rumors or confirmed. So, let's talk about what we know so far for the AEW video game. Now, we know that it's going to be called AEW Fight Forever, which is probably the perfect title for this game. It's a popular wrestling chant. Of course, the Fight Forever. When they're having great matches and stuff, you may hear that chant, the Fight Forever quote. Oh, I'm pretty sure even Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens got that when they faced each other or in NXT. But yeah, so that's going to be the name of the game, which is really cool so far. We've seen some in-game models for different characters like Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho and Jungle Boy and Darby Allin, and I think we just saw one for Chris Statlander yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But so far, everything is looking really good. But graphics-wise, we know the developer who's going to be behind the game, which is Yuke's, who, for those of you who are like, well, who is Yuke's? Have I heard of them? Yes, you have, because they worked on WWE games for years, all the way up until after 2K19, where the relationship went sour between them and WWE, and WWE dropped them as developers, and then we got 2K20, which made people beg for Yuke's back when that happened. But yeah, they developed WWE games for a while, and so they have the experience, they have knowledge under their belt and everything. And apparently the falling out was that apparently Yuke's didn't like the direction 2K was going, and 2K and them had a strained relationship. But yeah, so Yuke's is going to be in charge of development for this game, and hopefully it's going to be really cool. In terms of like roster size and things like that, because that's important as well, because how many people are going to be in the game. Apparently it's going to be a base roster of about 50 people. Now, when I first heard this news, I was a bit disappointed. Like, 50 people, that's it? That seems kind of small. But then, when you think about it, there's a lot of people they could probably put in the AEW video game, because AEW has a lot of people, and they're adding a lot of people and everything. But also, 50, when you think about it, 50 is kind of reasonable for a roster. Or look at, like, WWE games. WWE games usually have, like, a really big roster for a lot of games. But how many of those people in that roster do you play as on, like, a regular basis? Like, almost all the time whenever you're playing matches and stuff. How many of those guys do you actually play as? So, maybe 50 is okay for a base roster, and they can always add more in later as DLC, which is what the WWE games did all the time, where they would have the base roster and then they had DLC for like showcase mode, or like the Future Stars pack, or like Legends pack and stuff like that. So if their stars are missing, they can always be added later as DLC. And for AEW, there's a lot of day ones they got to get in there. So as long as they have a lot of the base, like, day ones, those who've been around for a while in AEW, who, as long as they're in the game, I think we can forgive them. Obviously, it's going to be like Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, Darby Allin, Hangman Page, probably Sting, Death Triangle, Pac, Luchasaurus, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, but the Lucha Brothers, I should say, for the Death Triangle, Penta and Rey Fenix. It's probably going to be like best friends, like Trent, Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy. Of course, you got to get the women in there, like Serena Deeb and Riho, Nyla Rose, Statlander, things like that. You probably want Britt Baker. And apparently, they are getting some newer stars in there, because Adam Cole's going to be a part of the roster, and they might throw in, as part of the base roster, they might throw in like Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, although I wouldn't be surprised if they're like DLC. So there's a lot of people that they'll definitely want in there. And of course, you also got like Sammy Guevara and J.K. Hager and SCU, Scorpio Sky, Frank Kazarian, Christopher Daniels. There's a lot of people that can go into this game and probably should go into this game and everything. So, the 50, we'll have to see. Apparently, Owen Hart's even going to be a part of the roster, which is fantastic. And it's fantastic to see they're having a working relationship with like the Hart family and everything. Owen Hart's widow, which she didn't really have with WWE. And that's a whole debacle for another time. But it's awesome to see him in this game. They're doing tournaments and all kinds of tributes to him and everything. And it's going to be Owen Hart's first wrestling video game appearance since Showdown Legends of Wrestling back in 2004 or so. It would be awesome to see him in the game and everything. And I'm hyped. I'm honestly excited for this video game. There's a lot of promising stuff, and hopefully it delivers. Now, in terms of like speculation, what can be speculated, I've made some speculations of my own, and one of the big ones that I kind of brought up the other day, a couple weeks ago, is should the game be rated M for mature? So, the thing about AEW compared to WWE is that AEW is a lot more mature. It's definitely for like an older audiences. There's a lot more blood, a lot more profanity, a lot more like weapons and stuff. And if the AEW game gets the T for T rating, either they'll have to cut a lot of that stuff, or a lot of that stuff will be watered down for the T for Teen audience. There's some stuff they can sneak in there. They've gotten blood in the air, especially for like the WWE games and stuff. But I doubt it'd be at its full capacity the way people would want it for like the AEW video game, because it's AEW. This is stuff they're known for. But that's why I say maybe it should be M for mature, so they can get the full effect of that stuff in there. And sorry if you hear some background noise. I think that's the next door and stuff of doing God knows what. But that M for mature rating could allow them to have more freedom and more leeway with everything they can fit into the game and everything. I think they can do a lot more mature based stuff. They can do a lot of like the blood and stuff, and they could do like all kinds of stuff, like the exploding barbed wire or deathmatch and stuff. And hopefully matches like that make it in, like the exploding barbed wire stuff and all those extreme matches is like a true AEW experience. The whole point of like the simulator type games, like the WWE games or the NBA games, is get as close to that feel as possible of the original thing. And I'm sure that's what they definitely want to do for this game, and so hopefully those things are implemented, even though they haven't been confirmed yet. But next up, it's time to feel old, because these are some games that are turning 20 years old this year. Right? There's a lot of games that came out in 2002 that are officially 20 years old, came out when I was a baby, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are babies. So here are just some of them. This is 10 best video games turning 20 in 2022. This is from Screen Rant. So, some games that we got is The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind for the PC and Xbox. There's Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos for PC. There's Mega Man Zero for the Game Boy Advance. There's Kingdom Hearts for the PlayStation 2. Their 20th anniversary was not too long ago. I hosted about it, and I even changed my profile picture and background cover here on my Facebook to reflect that because I absolutely love Kingdom Hearts. There is Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube. Yeah, that game is 20 years old. There's GTA Vice City, arguably one of the best GTA video games out there, one of the best video games ever, or alongside San Andreas in terms of Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. There's Ratchet and Clank, that 20th anniversary is coming up in November, I believe. Another one of my absolute favorite games, Ratchet and Clank, and I actually did a review for the Ratchet and Clank game over on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't already, go check that out. So, there's that. There's Metroid Prime for the GameCube as well. A lot of GameCube games. I think this is when the GameCube came out, if not a year or two earlier. There's Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and of course they got updated ports on the 3DS with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so there's that. There's The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, which has been rumored to come to Switch. If not this year, then next. Although this year would be perfect. It might be bundled with The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess as well, which would make sense because this is the 20th anniversary of that game of Wind Waker. And yeah, so that's 20th anniversary for all those games. There's other games such as Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus as well. So a lot of games turning old this year, and you probably feel old hearing that because there's games that you grew up playing and just see them now being 20 years old. It's like, man, where's the time gone? But other thing that turned 20 years old is the careers of several superstars in the WWE. So, 2002, I should say, is probably considered by many to be among one of the best rookie years for a lot of stars in WWE, and this is when a lot of stars made their debut. A lot of stars have become faces of the company. That would become big stars of the company. Just listen to a few of these names. Rey Mysterio, even though he was wrestling for a while, this is when he made his jump to WWE and really reached superstardom. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Batista, Randy Orton, just to name a few. Randy Orton's, they celebrated his 20 years about a week or two ago on Raw, so yeah, they've been in the company for 20 years now, and that is crazy to think that when they started in 2002, they were relative unknowns. Nobody really knew who they were. This is before, like, they became, like, mainstream, or like, indies and stuff were mainstream before they went to the big leagues of WWE and stuff. So, these guys, of course, came from, besides Rey Mysterio, he came sort of after the WCW buyout. A lot of these other guys came from the OVW when that was a developmental for WWE. They came up and they ushered in a new era in WWE, the Ruthless Aggression era. Of course, that infamous promo with John Cena where he answered Kurt Angle's open challenge, and Kurt Angle said, Ed, what are you here for? Cena said Ruthless Aggression, and then decked Kurt Angle. So, so the 20th anniversary of those guys who just go on to become megastars, like I said, faces of the company. Some of the biggest stars in the company, giving us some of the biggest and best moments, and some of the worst, but arguably some of the best moments in WWE, all stemmed from 2002, and 20 years later, seeing the impact that they made is crazy. And finally, the last topic that I want to talk about for today is the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. So, that's something I'm sure you've heard probably a lot in your life, and you've probably even said it before, but it's something that rings true, because when you treat others the way you want to be treated, you set the expectation of, hey, this is how I want to be treated and viewed as a person, and why not treat others this way, hey, and show that same level of respect and everything. And it's a two-way street, and science proves this. Is of course one of Newton's laws: for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so being able to reciprocate the energy, treating people the way you want to be treated. If you don't want to be treated in a certain way, why are you treating others in a certain way? Keeping that balance and everything. And it's something that's important and something that I feel like a lot of people lack and don't really pick up on. Of course, we say treat others the way you want to be treated, but sadly, seems to be quite a few people who don't follow that. Right, but I'm here to tell you, treat others the way you want to be treated. Show that level of respect, and it shall be returned unto you. But with that being said, hey, let's announce what we're going to do for episode 60. And so for episode 60 of System Shock Radio, of course, first things first, thank you all so much for allowing me to do 60 episodes of System Shock Radio. I appreciate all the love and support. Every like, comment, share really means so much to me when it comes to System Shock Radio and everything. But for episode 60, I've got a real treat for you guys. We're going to talk about the infamous video game crash of the 1980s. So, there was a time where video games weren't as popular as they were now, and this is what helped bring them up to that popularity. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in a couple weeks for that episode now. Because that is the week of my graduation, I'm graduating from college and everything, those episodes will actually be taped and uploaded in advance. So, the episodes will actually be uploaded that Friday, and then we'll pretty much chill, relax, for the rest of that time. I'm, just enjoying myself, celebrating my accomplishments and everything as I graduate. So those will be uploaded on Friday, and you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. Of course, System Shock Radio and Tales from the Labyrinth. And so those will be uploaded on, of course, Facebook and Instagram and all that. So if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook, which is the Nigelverse. Instagram, the same name. I have a Twitter as well, the Nigelverse, and of course the YouTube channel, the Nigelverse. So subscribe and all that, so you don't miss uploads and stuff. We do all kinds of stuff like video game reviews, movie reviews, System Shock Radio, Tales from the Labyrinth, and of course the crime analysis videos. And I just did one for Marvin Gaye last week, so if you haven't already, go check that out. And in addition, the next crime analysis video is going to be coming later on this month, and this month we're actually going to be talking about Gianni Versace. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.